Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How in the world are you? This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, and we're here with another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Coming at you live from the KU Dungeon. That's right. Over in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. We're back here. You know, it's been a while. And I'm really happy. I'm really excited to be here. In familiar territory. Although I gotta be honest with you, when I actually got in, number one, it was great to be back. I had the good feelings and the vibe. When I went in the building, the first thing that I did was I took it all in. I felt the energy. I just had I smelled the place and I was like, it's good to be home. It's great to be here. And to do stuff. Although it did throw me off a little bit because normally I record in a certain area of the KU dungeon, right? And normally there is a foldable table there. Well, I was looking around at the usual spot and noticed that table's gone. I was like, yo, are you serious? Like, where is this flipping table? So I'm looking all around, upside down and inside out, from right to left, up to down, corner to corner here over at the KU dungeon. And I'll be honest with you, I was like, Jesus, man, that is just crazy. I cannot believe that it's not here. We have the chairs here. The chairs are here and they're accounted for. But I need the table. Table's not there. What the hell, So, that's a slight disappointment. I did not think that was going to happen. So we had to move operations, and basically we tried to go in an area where it's a little bit more quiet. I didn't want to record outside, because where I wanted to go initially, it's a nice counter. It's a great counter, and I put my stuff there. But when you start recording, you can actually hear noise in the background of the refrigerator just going and I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I just there's no way that I can kind of talk over that kind of constant noise that's being made. So I'm not going to even try. I'm just going to go somewhere else. And, I found, kind of my niche here about how I wanted to do it. And let's just say, for the sake of saying it, that we're in a good spot. We're in a good location in the KU dungeon. It is very comfortable here, and noise-wise, it's not going to really affect anything. I mean, it's a lot more quiet in this section as opposed to where I was. So that being said, I mean that's a win in my book, and I just do that for the reason that. I just don't want anything to deter, the quality of the show while we're recording. If I can help it, I'd rather have it in a situation where, hey, we're recording over in an area where it's, a lot, it's not going to be like sound is going to be an issue. And by that, I mean like a lot of big sound, you know what I mean? So that said, I'm good. I think it's great. It's wonderful that, we are here and recording and doing stuff, and it's wonderful, Glad to be back and to be in the motion and to just be back into the swing of things, if you know what I'm saying. I want to start out that recently, I did an episode where I was talking about the passing of my Aunt Mai, Mai. And, since that time, and since that, I actually posted a lot about that. And I actually posted information about the last episode about, her passing, and kind of like our, we're honoring her in this episode. There was a lot of love, being sent my way. I really felt that there was a lot of love and support from a lot of people, whether they were personal friends of mine, other family members, co-workers, people in the acting community, even just random people that know me that kind of heard about it. And yeah, it was definitely appreciated. I know for my family as a whole in its entirety, it's a real tough one, because for each of us individually, we're taking it, one step at a time in our own way, right? As we're dealing with that fact that, she has passed. I would definitely comment that, there's some people that can kind of manage well, There's some people that cannot manage well and having a tough time and a challenge with all that. And I think, to be fair, that's okay on both ends. I don't think that there is a right or wrong way to kind of, go through the grieving process when it comes to a passing of a loved one. So I get it, I really get it, because when I lost my mom, I was definitely having a hard time with it. I'm still having a hard time with it, but at least I can say I have a lot of years that, I've been dealing with it since then, because my mom passed away in 99. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and as a representative of my family, I just want to give a big thank you to everybody out there who's, reached out, that's given their love and support. And, as a family unit, we definitely appreciate it, and we can't begin how, to express, how much this really means to us to get that love. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show you that even in our darkest times, somewhere around the darkness, there's always going to be a little crack of light to guide you. You know what I mean? And I think that going forward, the only thing that we ask is that if you can please continue to keep us in your thoughts and your prayers, sending some good energies and, sending the good vibes our way, we would appreciate it, because with this, we continue to get one step closer to healing. And we realize, again, this is going to take a while. It's continuous progress. It's like saying that Rome wasn't built in a day. That is absolutely true. Healing doesn't, come in a day. But I think with the continued love and support that y'all give, it feels like we definitely can get there, 100%. You know what I mean? And I'm just once again going back to what I said last time in the episode, where, Mai to me was such a beautiful woman, inside and out. very intelligent woman, very caring woman. It didn't matter to her, what aspect of life that you were in. She was going to love you regardless, and she's always going to be positive to people because she felt like that was kind of like her way, and that was kind of a way to kind of bridge the friendship between her and said person. She was never a person that ever judged. She never was the type of person that made you feel less than. She never called you stupid or an idiot or a dumb mother effer or anything of that sort. You know what I mean? She always saw good in people. And I think that's the reason why people gravitated towards her, And I'm just very grateful to have such a woman that was a part of my family that I was related to in my life, And, even right now I'm just sitting down thinking about, this moment and the situation and her passing. It really got me, thinking in life. And, I am grateful, I am thankful for just being where I am right now and having her making me realize that, I have it very lucky, being born here in the United States from Vietnamese parents who emigrated here to the United States after the fall of the Vietnam War. And I think that they landed here in 74 or 75 or something like that. And, if it wasn't for them escaping, a hostile situation and relocating here, individuals like myself, I wouldn't be here, just like my younger cousins, whose parents did the same thing. They wouldn't be here, if it wasn't for the situation. They wouldn't even be born or conceived here. And and we're all grateful. I'm grateful. I'm pretty sure that my cousins that were born here, they're grateful. It's amazing and it's a good thing. And I'm just happy knowing that, I understand the situations. I understand everything that I was taught through my Aunt Mai when it comes to the situations and, making me realize about how good that we have it. Because if we were still in Vietnam, I would think that the options would have been limited. And the fact that she made me realize that through various talks and conversations and so forth, that's real. That's real as it gets. And that's all I have to say about that. So again, to everybody that's listening out there that sent that love and support, it has been received. We feel it. It is helping. And again, thank you. Thank you for just giving that love and support. A little goes a long way. And I think it's the little things like that helps us to keep going in life. And I don't think that many realize that when you do just something simple like that, little as that goes a long way, man. Like, it really does. And I just know that, it's incredible. Wouldn't have it any other way. And I just hope that you guys understand, how much that it does mean to us and how sincere I am when I say thank you. So, thank you. We're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to come in with the second segment. It's going to be hot. It's going to be great. So, do what you need to do, but come right back, because the Kim Hoang podcast experience, we just saw the green light, we're hitting the accelerator, and we're taking off.
I want to tell you about an amazing store that's really good for all musicians, music enthusiasts, and a whole lot more, which is Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center in Wheaton, Maryland. That's right, you heard it correctly. Since 1958, Chuck Levin's has been actually tearing up the game when it comes to the music scene. And guess what? Since 1958, they have been the store to go to and a must-visit destination for any serious musician passing through our nation's capital. So, if you're actually a person that's in a band looking for a new instrument, such as an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, a bass guitar, or maybe some drums, if you're a DJ looking for like the greatest DJ equipment, such as turntables and so forth, they got you. Hey, are you actually in an orchestra playing a woodwind instrument, brass instrument, or strings? They got you. They got all the classical instruments that you need. And let's not forget, for all my fellow podcasters, need a microphone? They got you. Need a podcasting vocal track recorder? They got you. They got everything, man. And I'm telling you, it's the best place to go. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do so, because right here at Chuck Levin's, they're the best. Forget the rest. Mess with the best. Located over at 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you want to know more about what they have to offer, you can go over to chucklevins.com online or give them a buzz at area code 301-946-8808. Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center. Like I said before, don't worry about the rest. Mess with the best.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang podcast experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Recently, I actually put out an episode mini dated back, I believe, it was July the 27th. That one was called My Recent Awkward Moment on the Film Set. Now, if you have not heard that episode mini, I encourage you to listen to it, because then you'll have a better understanding of what's going on here. But that being said, I had a lot of people contact me. A lot of actors that I knew from the local community, as well as other actors, and just people in general. And they wanted to know a little bit more about the situation of why I actually made that particular episode mini. So we are going to go and jump back into the rabbit hole and revisit it. I do have a lot to say and things to explain, and I'm going to definitely do my best to do it in such a way where, you guys understand it, and et cetera, et cetera. As being actors, on the film set, our job basically is simple, which is we have been given the task to actually portray a character in a film, in a movie, right? With this particular, movie production company, or with a set of group of people. Why? Because they believe that we are the ones that can carry this particular role into the stratosphere, meaning that we can do it, we can get the job done, it'll be executed to the T, and everybody will be happy knowing that, we did it, and it was amazing. And us as actors, we don't really demand much. All we want to do is just have a good time. We want to have zero drama on the set. We want 100% professionalism. And we just want to have a good time and to have the freedom to do what we want in the terms of our character, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, though, it's never going. It's in a perfect world, all of this is going to happen, and I definitely want to recognize that. But I also want to acknowledge that on the same coin, but on the opposite side, sometimes it's not going to be that way. So on the set, it's definitely like you got a 50-50 shot. Sometimes it's going to go smooth as silk, and the other times it's going to be, challenging to say the very least. And some of that might end up in a situation where, it gets really awkward. It gets really strange, and you feel uncomfortable. And I've had that. I've actually had that recently and years back, which I'm willing to talk about, because I feel like with my experiences, if you hear about what has happened, you can actually take that information and kind of put it in your back pocket and be like, man, Kim actually talked about this. He was mentioning that something happened, and this is possibly something that I'm facing now, just like he did back in the day. So here we go. I will talk about it. Years ago, back in 2011, I actually had the honor and the pleasure to be acting in Alvin Gray's movie called Senior Cut Day, the movie. And I actually got in thanks to one of my acting mentors in Brian St. August, who happened to also be in that film playing the mayor. Now then, I was hired to kind of play this role where, he's like a strange, zombie-like person, and he was actually going to be fighting one of the main characters, which was Alex Vaughn. Now, Alex Vaughn, I have a lot of respect for, and it was pretty cool. What I didn't know at that time was that I was going to be challenged by, an actress who was going to be acting alongside him in his scenes. Now, I want to start to open up a little bit by saying that for those that know me, I am a genuine nice person on the set. I'm very friendly with everybody. I want to get to know people. I kind of want to get that teamwork built in, the environment. And I just want to, develop that. I guess the term is that gung-ho, that we do it together, we get the job done, and that we're in solidarity. So when I went out there to introduce myself to that actress, to be in the simplest of terms, wasn't really nice. Really made my experience that bad. She was just acting like her stuff didn't stink. Obviously, she felt like she was a little bit entitled, mainly because with her position and the role that she has was a lot more bigger than the role that I had. Now, I didn't have a problem with that. I totally accepted my fate. I was going to go ahead and have a smaller role, but it was a noticeable role. That role was going to be that where Alex Vaughn's character and myself were going to get into a fight, and we were going to tussle and stuff like that. So, I was okay with that. But apparently, this actress wanted to basically, impose her will, make me feel really bad about myself, and just kind of like exercise the fact that on the hierarchy of this particular film, she was number one, and I was like maybe number 0. I had no place. And I was like thinking to myself, and I'm asking a lot of people, am I in the wrong here, or am I doing something wrong? And a couple other people that were acting with me, they were like, you know what, bro, it's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. She's just tripping. And I was like, man, if I am feeling a little bit uncomfortable here. It's kind of really weird. It's awkward right now. nah, don't worry about it, bro. You're good. You'll be fine. And I was like, all right, well, if that's, as long as you guys know that I'm trying to do the best I can and I just want to get to work. So, Alvin Gray calls myself and Alex Vaughn in to talk a little bit about the fight scene and what it's going to entail. So he and I are working together and so forth. Now I have at that time, being that I was a martial artist, I had some background in, combat fighting, and I did learn how to do falls and rolls and stuff like that, because that's part of our training. And I know that's very applicable when you're doing a fight scene, So I didn't feel bad about doing this. I felt like this was going to be in my wheelhouse. All of a sudden, this same actress that's making me feel bad comes in here and tries to play the role of not an actress in this film, but now she wants to play the stunt coordinator and the fight choreographer. Now, does she have any experience in this arena? No. She really doesn't. And the fact that she tried to impose her will, yet again, was surprising to me. And was trying to tell me, look, you're doing things wrong. And because she was saying that for the reason that I was supposed to take a forward fall, right? I know how to take a forward fall. Matter of fact, I've done it many a times. I know how to do it safely. Well, her trying to impose her will was trying to show me how to do the fall incorrectly. And the way that she was explaining it and demonstrating it honestly looked like she was about to break a couple of teeth, because she did it wrong, she did it incorrectly, she didn't put her arms out, she didn't really drop to her knees first, which is a little bit more of a safer way to do it. And I just looked at everybody like, am I just crazy here for the fact that, somebody with zero experience is trying to tell me what to do with the stunts? To that, I was like, dude, you got to stay in your lane. The acting, that is what you're there for. I recognize that. But you're not here for this. You're not qualified here. So you have no authority or position to even tell me how to do these stunts when I've done it better and longer than you. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but that is a little bit ridiculous, and that is way out of line. It's like trying to say a first-year medical student is going to tell a heart surgeon how to do heart surgery, when that heart surgeon has been a heart surgeon for 20 years, has studied, gone through the ranks, and is very successful at it. And you want the new kid on the block to tell that heart surgeon how to do their job? Nah. So, at that point, I think what happened there was that Alvin was like, yo, don't even trip, dog. Just, I know that you can do it. Do it in a way that you feel comfortable with. Don't pay attention to anybody else, and it'll be fine. And I appreciated that from him. And I'd never heard anything else from that actress ever again. I don't know if she's changed her way of thinking or, her attitude. In a perfect world, we really do wish for that, because that just shows that, how much you grew as a person, and that, you matured even more so. But it is what it is there. I'm not going to get more into that. Most recently, I just got wrapped in an action film, in Washington, D.C. that had 3 directors. I actually got into this film because I actually contacted the principal director saying that, hey, I would love to be in this film, and I would like to be an actor in this film. Or if you don't need me as an actor, I will do anything. I'll be the stunt coordinator. I will be the person that does a fight scene, yada, yada, yada. I just want to have my chance and my opportunity. Now, please trust and believe, when I found out that, I got in with this particular movie project, I was floored. I literally was smiling ear to ear, and it was fantastic, and it was wonderful. Fast forward to that moment. I was called by the director, the principal director, to go ahead and report in on the set. And I said, that's great. It's wonderful. If you need me to do something, I'll definitely do it. I was already scheduled that day to do an interview with an actress on that production. And she happened to be there acting and doing stuff, which was great. So when I came in, it was all smiles, shaking hands with everybody. But as soon as a particular actress came in, literally it hit the fan. Now, this actress was somebody that I was very uncomfortable with, because initially I was going to have her as a guest on my show. And then come to find out, after a lot of actors that I can, I would just want to say that on good authority that I know these actors and I trust them with my life, and they're great people. Don't hang around with this actress. Don't have her in your show. Apparently there was a lot of bad press about this person, and the reputation was so bad that I felt like, okay, this is not going to work out. So when I heard and saw that particular actress, I literally froze. My anxiety and my depression came in and skyrocketed, and I didn't know what to do. And I was really, really scared at that point. But I did remember something that my stepmother, who is from Barbados, by the name of Diara Henderson, said, something that stuck. And she said, well, Kim, I go by the golden rule that, if you can't say anything nice to people, don't say it at all. Go ahead and just ignore that person. If they happen to be there when you're there, just do everything that you can to not communicate with this person and get out of the way. Get out of Dodge. Do not even be there. Because if you don't communicate with this person, then you don't give them any ammunition at all to say anything bad about you. And I followed that to the T the whole time. If she was coming my way, I was going another direction, so I wouldn't even have to see her on sight. If she happened to walk by over at an area where I was at, I left. Because I didn't want any part of her. I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want to do nothing. About 75% of the day was done, and I had successfully dodged this actress. And I thought to myself, man, I think I got it made. I think I'm going to hit a home run with this, and I'm just excited now. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. As soon as I turned in the corner, I didn't really think about it, but she actually got into my grill. Then, my mental health started to decline badly, to the point where she actually went up to me and said, why are you ignoring me? Blah, 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 blah. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you not saying hi? Every time that, I'm walking around a certain way towards you, you dodge and so forth. And I'm really just shocked, to the point where, I was frozen. And then I had to say to her, look, I was brought here on the set under the request of the directors because they want me to do something here on the set. Now, I don't know about you, but as a professional actor, and you should know about this, the mission is simple. Come in, do your job with the acting, make sure that you do it right, make sure that the directors and everybody else are happy, get wrapped, and then get out. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. You, of all people, should know that and realize that. And I'm kind of surprised that, you're not understanding that. I mean, you're an actor, right? Well, get with the program. And then the actress, she was like, oh, well, I don't mean to make it, awkward or anything, or, make it strange, but blah, 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 blah. I wanted to introduce myself. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, first off, I didn't want you to introduce yourself to me. Second of all, you are making it fucking weird. You are making it fucking awkward and strange and uncomfortable for me. After that, I just kind of walked out my own way, and that was it. There might have been some people that heard that conversation, but I think what was surprising was that I said it in a cool way, in a cool attitude, where I didn't let it burst my bubble. But I was still frozen, I was still shocked, and I was afraid, and I was nervous, and afterwards, the anxiety and the depression and everything of my mental health kicked in and kicked me hard. And soon enough, when I got done, I was glad to get out of there for that reason alone. But I was still grateful for the fact that I was a part of that project that's going to be coming out. And the best way to defend myself from the situation for, other people was I wanted to let people know about that fact that, I felt awkward. And I made that mini episode because I wanted to give people a warning about that this can happen to anybody. Look what happened to me. The one thing that the actress said that, stuck in my mind was, I'm probably going to see you because, there's probably going to be another project that we're going to be working on together, and it's a small world. She is right. It is a small world. We could bump into each other. But I pray that we don't. But if we do, I don't have to pay attention to her. There's nothing of a law that states that I have to give that actress the time of day and to hold conversations with her. No. And for any reason that, it becomes a little bit of an issue, I will go through the proper channels. I will tell every director, every producer, every assistant director, whoever I have to, that this person in question is bothering me and it's really making me feel bad. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the international rule is when you're out there on the set, number one, safety is the most important rule. You have to feel safe, in all aspects. Physically, mentally, emotionally. You're there to have a good time and to do your work. You're not there to be, you're not there to be harassed. You're not there to, have people walk all over you or make you feel less than, or you're not there to be the butt of jokes or anything of that sort. You're not there to feel uncomfortable. If anything, you should be there and you should be comfortable. And if something is going on, you have to take charge and you have to let people know. Because if people don't know, how can they help you right then and there? You know what I mean? And if you're afraid to talk about it with somebody like that, because you might feel like, hey, it's going to make me feel bad, it's going to make me look bad. No, don't feel that way. Your safety and your well-being and your mental health comes first. And I think any self-respecting director, producer, executive understands that. Because they want things to go smoothly. They don't have time for the bullshit. And I think that I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's fair to say. So I hope that for anybody that feels a certain way like how I did, please know that, number one, I'm with you. And number two, you can take what I'm saying right now as reference. As kind of like a guideline of, okay, this is what to do if I'm feeling uncomfortable. If it's really awkward. whether if an actor is making you feel really bad, or somebody in the that's on crew makes you feel bad, or maybe somebody on the slick side did something that you gave like no approval on, you know what I mean, and it bothers you and you don't want that to happen. You got to tell somebody. You got to be straight up. You got to go straight to the source. And that's all I will say. When we come back, we will go ahead and do the final part of the Kim Hoang podcast experience, the final installment. You don't want to miss out. So do what you need to do. Come back, because the Kim Hoang podcast experience is coming in red hot, ready to go, and taking care of business.
In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com, or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang podcast experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, yes. And we have come to the final portion of the Kim Hoang podcast experience. But before we begin, as a friendly reminder, the Kim Hoang podcast experience is asking for help on a voluntary basis to anyone out there that would like to assist our podcast show by the ways of sponsorship and or financially donating to the podcast to help make the quality of our podcast better. Any proceeds and money that we raise will go towards getting more equipment and better equipment that we need, such as microphones for our in-studio guests, XLR cables for those microphones, extra headsets and headphones for our in-studio guests, even a MacBook Pro. Yes, the Apple MacBook Pro, which is the official computer of the Kim Hoang podcast experience. Anytime that you listen to our podcast, you know it was edited through the power of the Mac. And thanks to one of the greatest programs that Apple ever invented, which was GarageBand. And even lately, we've been trying to save money and get money so we can get a brand new podcasting recording system from Zoom, which with this particular unit will allow us to make recordings with our in-studio guests, up to 5 additional people. Imagine that. So that's pretty awesome. Now, whatever that you can donate will help us no matter what, and we definitely would appreciate it. So insert the joke. If you want to donate $5 million, which I don't think anyone would want to donate that much, but you never know, definitely appreciated. You know, we would send some love, and hell, we would even make you an executive producer to even as low as $5. Every little bit helps, and again, we would appreciate your assistance. If you want to make a donation, you can do it by the following. PayPal and Venmo. You can do it that way. Just go ahead and make the donation under my tag name at Kim Hoang MD Actor. That's once again at KIMHOANG MD ACTOR. Or if you happen to have Cash App, you can donate by, again, my tag name, $ Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, that is the $ KIMHOANG MD ACTOR. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, back once again, we have our Q&A session. That's right. Question and answer. You ask them questions, and I'm going to answer it. Normally, we do 7. But you know what? Last time we did not have a Q&A, so we're automatically going to throw in some extra questions for the bonus round, which is 3, the standard 3. So grand total of 10 questions. That said, I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do this. All right. Question number 1. Kim, this year in 2026, there has been a lot of deaths. Which ones were you surprised about? Roland from Elgin, Illinois. Roland, that's a good one. Yes, there's been a lot of, deaths in the world. And I was a little bit shocked, especially recently, people like Dolly Parton, who was a legend in the music industry. Even that girl, the actress, Hayden Panettiere, who people may know that she actually played Claire Bennett on a hit TV show called Heroes back in the day. Then, Tim Curry, the actor, died. Also, believe it or not, we had James Vanderbeek, who died. He played Dawson on Dawson's Creek, the TV show that was famous. Catherine O'Hara, the actress that played Kevin's mom on Home Alone and then Beetlejuice. Chuck Norris, a legend in the martial arts, died, at age 86, which was shocking because, as old as Chuck was, he still stayed pretty active and healthy, just eating right and, with his martial art workouts and everything else. So at age, 86, he was still kicking pretty good, and who else? There was another person in the martial arts that passed recently, and I want to give a shout out to James Liu. He was not only an actor in various action films like Big Trouble in Little China, and also I believe he was in The Best of the Best, the very first one, and I believe he was in Hot Shots Part 2. So yeah, there was a lot of people that died, and those are the ones on my mind right now that really shocked me. I was really, really surprised about that, and I just can't believe that we lost a lot of good people. That's just a sample of people that we lost along the way this year. I could go a little bit more. You're talking about like actor Vincent Pastore, who was a actor on The Sopranos, and then this one actress, Kaylee Hoddle, who was in the movie Godzilla vs. Kong. That kind of threw me a little bit for a loop. I was like, oh man. And she was only 18 years old, who died in a car crash in Maryland, which was wow, unbelievable. And if this had taught me anything, it's like anyone and everyone can pass away, no matter how old you are or where you are in life and so forth. Unfortunately, when your number's up, it doesn't matter. Time is going to collect you. So I think that's all I'm going to say about that. But, let's continue on. Question number 2. Kim, did you hear the allegations that ESPN will possibly end their relationship with the WWE? What are your thoughts about that? Missy from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Missy, I don't know if that's 100% true. I heard about it, but I will say this. If it's real that ESPN's going to end their relationship with the WWE, I think that, that's fine. Matter of fact, I don't even know why that partnership was even made in the first place. I mean, I know TKO owns like ESPN and, the UFC and stuff like that. And, WWE was looking for, money. They definitely wanted to have the money, and they definitely did in the billions bracket for about X amount of years. But I feel like ever since, WWE jumped out from Peacock Television and jumped into, ESPN Plus, getting charged like $30 a month, which I feel like that's a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like the sales have declined. And I think that when you have sales that decline because of that reason, the WWE is just, they have to listen to their consumers. They have to listen to the fans in the WWE universe. If they bring it back over to Peacock TV, I think it would be awesome, and it definitely would help the consumers save a lot of money, because I'd rather spend like $10 or $11 a month than $30. Or even like, if you put it on, Netflix for access to the PLEs, because they do that anyways for people that are out of the U.S. Like if you don't live in the United States, like you live in Canada, Mexico, or France or something like that, if you have Netflix, you automatically get access to not only WWE Raw, Monday Night Raw, but you get access to all the PLEs. So I don't even know why WWE is not partnering up with Netflix of America to get that. That's just, mind-boggling. Like, I don't get it. But, it is what it is. And I'm hoping that if the WWE is no longer in partnership with ESPN, then, ESPN will remove the WWE from ESPN Plus, and the WWE can find a better alternative for, streaming purposes for their PLEs. Preferably one that's more cost effective and that works for the regular consumer, because, regular people like, the everyday average Joe like myself and the guy next door, $30 a month is a little bit overkill, and it definitely burns a big hole in the wallet. Number 3, Kim, is animosity real in the film industry in terms of actors and such? Bill from El Paso, Texas. Bill, 100, man. There can be animosity in the film industry, not just with actors alone, but maybe directors, producers, and fight choreographers and stunt coordinators. It does happen, and I think it's because it's like the clashing of heads, because maybe somebody thinks that something is a little bit better than the other thing and so forth, and I get it. Sometimes it happens, but the best thing that we can do, like for like me personally as an actor, if I have like an animosity or a beef, I literally try to work it out as much as I can. But if it's out of my hands, I have to say forget it. Life goes on, and I got a job to do on the set, just like they got a job to do on the set. And I have many times with different actors and different people, and unfortunately it just worked the way that it did, and we just kind of realized that person and myself, we just realized, well, we just got to keep on going, man. That's just the bottom line. So, all right, question number 4. Kim, why are there martial artists out there trying to claim that the style they study and train in is the best system and no other art or system is the best? Amanda from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Amanda, wow, very good question. I think it's because when a martial artist studies like a singular art for so long, they just believe that it's the best because they've trained in it for so long. They haven't trained in anything else. So they clasp onto the art that they currently train in and have this 100% faith in it. Now, I'll say this. I do believe that all martial arts are good, right? They all have their pros and they work well and so forth. But I myself personally do not believe that there is one singular style of martial art that is the absolute best, because honestly, there is none. And I always believe it's more of the martial artist rather than the martial art, so if the person actually proves that something does work in that art, great, but if they don't, that's not on the art, that's on the person that trains that art. So if somebody is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy and, he does pretty well with like chokes and, manipulation and so forth, God bless it, great. But what if he gets caught, with a boxer's jab to the chin, or somehow, a Taekwondo guy just kicks him right in the knee and then hits him with a jump back kick or like a side kick to the gut or whatever, you know what I mean? At that point, when you catch that Brazilian jiu-jitsu stylist, then it might be lights out. So that's why I don't really subscribe to this one singular art is the most effective art, or this is the supreme art of all arts and everything else is crap. No, not even. I think you're better off studying either more multiple styles together and kind of put a system in together like Bruce Lee did, because when Bruce Lee was around and alive and kicking, he, obviously trained in Wing Chun style of Kung Fu. And then he kind of drifted out of it because he wanted to find other arts that could be effective for his cause and for his system, because at that point he just didn't believe in styles anymore. He didn't want to have a singular style. And that's when he started to learn a little bit more about kicking from Taekwondo and Hapkido and things of that nature, and regular boxing, and he just put the Mod Podge together, and that's when his art of Jeet Kune Do came about. So if that's the answer you're looking for, Amanda, that's it. Sorry that it took so long to explain it, but that's how I feel. Question number 5. Kim, Ted Lasso recently has returned for a 4th season on Apple TV Plus. Have you caught any of the new episodes, and what are your impressions so far? Franklin from Jackson, Tennessee. Yo. Franklin, yes. I definitely have caught up as of right now to all the episodes that are happening. I literally got up to episode 4 right now of season 4. And I know that episode 5, as of right now, as I'm recording it, is coming, I believe, on Wednesday, because all the new episodes, Ted Lasso and And like even like there's this one particular Apple TV series that I watch, and it's called Trying, which is based out of England. I watched that to the T too, and it literally drops on the same day on Wednesdays. Matter of fact, I actually caught the newest episode, and it was like the season finale, being that right now it's on its 5th season, and there was like 8 episodes. You know what I'm saying? So But yeah, I like the new stuff that 4th season of Ted Lasso's doing. I think it's cool. I think it's witty. There's new characters. The new plot is interesting because now, AFC Richmond is now having a women's team. So the Lady Greyhounds of AFC Richmond. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And I'm watching it religiously, so I'm hoping, as a fan, that there's going to be a lot going on here. Let me just go reference something real quick. The last time season 3 had about 1, 2, 3, 4. They had 12 episodes, and I believe that on season 2. They had 12 episodes as well. All right, yeah. So I'm hoping, now that, I finished episode 4 of the 4th season, that, by the time that we get to the 12th one, if it goes that far, that it's going to be just as amazing, just as funny, and so forth. I'm really hoping that they will bring back some of the actors that played the soccer players of the regular AFC Richmond team, the men's team. Like I want to see Jamie Tart. I want to see Sam Obisanya. I want to see a lot of people there. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I stand, and that's where I'll stay with that opinion, no doubt. Question number 6. Kim, I heard on a previous episode that you saw BTS in concert over in Baltimore. How was it, and what did you like about it? Mandy from Seaford, Delaware. Holy crap. All right. So about like 2 hours away from Baltimore, give or take, I think. But yeah, Mandy, it was incredible. It definitely was incredible, and 70,000 strong on day 1, which is the day I went to, was literally amazing. It definitely broke records for the 2 days of attendance, where it was a grand total of 140K in attendance, not even counting like the extra people that were sitting outside the stadium because they couldn't afford a ticket. But yeah, it was incredible. BTS definitely lived up to the expectation of how they do concerts and how they perform, the showmanship, the dancing, all the spectacle. It was incredible. And I think my favorite was not so much of BTS, the band, but I think it was like the fans. You know what I mean? All the fans out there were celebrating, singing along, having a good time. You had people as young as 5 years old going to this concert to as old as like 85 years old. There was a huge generation gap, and that just proved that no matter what the age you are, we all come together to listen and enjoy a band that we like. You know what I mean? And this was one of the rare few concerts I ever been to where there wasn't any fights or anything. It was all love, man. It was all love, and it was fantastic. And I think that's what concerts should be like. It's all about the love. There's no horsing around. There's no fighting. It was just great. And I wish that all concerts ran like that. But that's a heavy ask. So it is what it is there. Question number 7, the final question, and then we'll go to the bonus round. Kim, what are your thoughts on all-you-can-eat restaurant places. Harvey from Oakland, California. Yo, the Oak Town, Bay Area. What up, dog? Harvey, I will say this. All-you-can-eat places, if it's like just like a single cuisine alone, I think you're good. Like a sushi place that does all-you-can-eat sushi, I'm down with that. If it's like all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue, I'm okay with that. It's when you do other things, I feel like, all-you-can-eat Chinese food, that's questionable. Or if it's like all-you-can-eat and there's a different Mod Podge of different cuisines, I feel like it's kind of questionable. It should, I'll just say this. If you like that type of thing where it's all you can eat and they just have a whole plethora, that's fine. That's up to you. Just do your research on what it is, what they do, what kind of cuisine that they have. If you have any questions, obviously you ask anybody that works in that restaurant. And if it's to your liking and you're okay with it, cool, stay around, enjoy yourself, and have a good meal. If you feel unsafe, get out of there. And that's all I'll say, is just get out of there, because I'd rather you be in a situation where you feel a little bit safe and you make a decision like, hey, I don't want to go because of this reason, and knowing that you're okay with it, rather than, hey, I just think that this is not a good thing. So just, do your research, do what you got to do, and that's that. Make a decision. You can eat there if you want to. You don't have to eat there if you don't want to. Bonus round time. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Question number 8. Kim, I'm sorry to hear about the death of your aunt. Can you share a memory about her? Maria from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Wow. Wow, that's a... Yeah, you really hit a hard one with that one. For the record, I want to say that I love my aunt, Aunt Mai. Aunt Mai was an amazing person, a beautiful person, an intelligent person, and a person that you definitely wanted to spend time with, and people loved her, not just only in my family, but people in general, because how nice of a person that she is, and just the genuine warmth that she has for people, and the kindness that she has for people, and the fact that she's very open and understanding to people. And I think that's what gravitates many people towards her. If there was a memory that I could share, I think it was when I was a little bit younger, and she knew that I wanted to be an actor, and she asked me the question, like, Kim, why don't you just want to go to, university or college or something and go into engineering or be a medical doctor or be a lawyer or something? And, I just said, what, it's nothing, no disrespect to anybody else in our family that, does that. They do what they want to do, whether if it was influenced, by family members or not. If they chose it, great. If it was, kind of pushed onto them, that's their choice. But that's not my choice. I've always loved acting. It's something that I want to do, and I feel like I will keep chasing it until the very end. I'm not going to stop. Just because somebody tells me that I should do this doesn't mean that I'm going to follow it. I feel like, okay, maybe that's your dream. That's not my dream. If you talk about being an engineer or being a doctor or a lawyer and they make a lot of money, then you do it. It's plain and simple. I'm living my life and I want to do it, and there's nothing that's going to make me say otherwise. And my aunt actually at that point respected me, because she was like, wow. I think from that point, after we had that conversation, she was open about it. She was accepting about it. And she supported me 100% without, any hesitation. And that's a lot better than I can say for most. You know what I mean? So that was a good memory of my aunt. And I appreciate everything that Gomai has ever done in my life. So, Gomai, rest in peace. I love you. I hope that you're well. Question number 9, Kim, what do you think about the Baltimore Ravens this season in the NFL? Chris from Ellicott City, Maryland. My dude, straight out from the 410/443. Chris, I think that the Baltimore Ravens, for sure, are going to do a lot better this season than they did last season. Obviously, there was a lot of things that were holding the Ravens back. I feel like we corrected those mistakes. We added some new players to the game that's definitely going to help us out on the regular season. And I think that we just got rid of the anchor that was holding us down. So I'm hoping that this season we're going to do well, we're going to kick butt, and then get back to the playoffs. I don't think that we're Super Bowl bound, but, hey, anything can happen on any given Sunday. So there it is. All right, last but not least, and we are out of here. Kim, this is question number 10 and the final question. Kim, I read on social media that you were featured in a book. Can you give me more details on it? Sky from Lawrence, Kansas. Sky, you are 100% correct, ma'am. Yes, I was in a book. And it was a book that was written by director and martial arts black belt Jason Henderson, which is a person that I have a lot of respect for. He's a good guy. And, I'm proud to say that I know him, and he's a friend. He recently wrote a book called DC Bounty Hunter, The Frequency Files, The Making of an Independent Film. And, I got a copy of it. It was on, they're selling it right now on Amazon Prime. And to be honest with you, I was a little bit surprised when I was featured in the book. I saw 2 pictures of me, you know what I mean? And then there was a little written article in one of the chapters of the book about me, about my martial arts experience, about the scene that I was in, and the purpose behind that scene and so forth. And I liked it. I think it was incredible. I think it was really well written. And I feel like people who want to know more about it, I think that you should make an investment in this particular book. Now, if you go to Amazon Prime, there's 2 ways of getting this book. You can either get it on paperback or on Kindle. For $25, you can get a actual physical copy, the paperback copy of the book. If you actually get it electronically, if you have an Amazon Kindle, then, which is a machine where you can actually read all books and stuff like that electronically, immediately, you can actually invest in it, get an e-copy of it for $7.99, and it will be available to you instantly. So you do have your choice. You can get a paperback copy for $25. It will probably take a little bit, but it'll get to you. And or you can get it for $7.99. That'll be immediate access to you on your Amazon Kindle device. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are done. Holy cow. Back in the act again, and we did it, man. It's incredible. I love it. It's amazing that we were here. It was amazing that we did an episode, and it was amazing that that we did it back here in the KU dungeon. I'm really excited about it. So let me just go ahead and do the show notes for the closing. You would think after 5 seasons that we got it right Nah, we didn't. We're still trying to figure it out, man. You can find your boy over on Facebook. Just go under the search box and put in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Please like and follow that. We definitely would appreciate it. We're also on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Instagram. Follow me on our tag name at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. Follow me and I'll follow you back. Once again, that's at TKHPCEXPERIENCE, lowercase letters. We are on 6 podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Now, please like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on all of those podcast platforms. Now, do me a favor. If you have Spotify, please give me a 5-star review. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give me a 5-star review and a positive written review. Because the more times that you do that for each of those podcasting platforms, then the more attention that our podcast will get, and it will be thrown to the front lines. And somebody could be like, oh my God, that's the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I heard about this. My boy Twun told me that this is a great podcast and we should give it the time of day. Yes, please do. Again, like, follow, and subscribe to it, man, on all of those podcasting platforms. Now, that being said, do me a favor as well. Another favor. Please share our podcast on all of your, social media pages, the Facebook, the X, formerly known as Twitter, the Instagram, even TikTok. That would be awesome. To even as if you have what is that joint? Not Spot. Snapchat. If you have Snapchat, that's amazing. Share it on all of those platforms, and tell people that you know in person. A friend, a relative, a coworker, maybe a neighbor, a constituent, to even the random person next door, or 5 blocks from here, or just a random person on the street. Tell them about the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Tell them that there's an Asian guy out of the Washington, D.C. area that makes content through the art of podcasting, and that he would definitely appreciate the love and support that you give him. You know what I mean? Also, finally, if you want to be a special guest on my podcast or a special guest host, if you have any questions for our Q&A forum, or even if you want to send suggestions, please do so. Email me at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. How it works is obviously you go ahead and put the email address on to the to area. Who are you sending it to? You're sending it to us. Then whatever the subject is, put it in the subject box, and then write a letter in the body. Once you're complete, hit send, and I will get your email, and I'll probably read it right away, and I might respond back either on the same day or by the following day. So up to 2 days, you might hear something. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely would appreciate that. But yeah, that is it. That is all that she wrote. I'm really happy to do this. I feel like it's a little bit going to be a longer episode for a solo episode, but it's definitely been worth it. And I don't know if there's something in the air, but I definitely appreciate it. I think that it's given me the motivation to do well and to zero in. Real quick though, I do want to say something real quick, and I have to address it because a friend of mine reached out recently and was criticized on her creativity of being a podcaster, and she's really been, feeling down about the situation. So I wanted to give her a shout out and say this. And now I'm not going to mention no names because I feel like I didn't get permission to use her government name. So I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, we as podcasters as a whole, really work hard. We want to, create great content, not only for you guys, because because you deserve it. But it's also therapeutic for us as well, because, sometimes, we get in a rut in life and we just want to, create, whether if we're trying to deal with our own, inadequacies with maybe like mental health, or just something went down, or we just kind of feel creative and we just want to let those juices flow. We also do it for ourselves too. You know what I mean? It really hurts in general, especially like if people try to criticize us that, we're not doing a good job or our podcast sucks. And especially like if you haven't heard any episode whatsoever, that's unfair and that's ridiculous. I think that we're here to support each other. We're here to be there for one another, and it's important that we do that. And anybody else otherwise that says that we can't, you're out of your mind. You know what I mean? So all I say is, like, to all of you guys in general, I'm not saying that everybody does this, but please, love and support all the podcasters out there and creative people in general, because they're just trying to have a good time. They're trying to have fun, and they just want to feel like they belong in life. And I think that podcasting is that great creative medium that helps us feel like we belong in the world. So if you can be supportive and say nice things and help us out, that would be amazing. Matter of fact, that's why, when it comes to doing, reviews, you know what I mean? If people can do a review on that show, and make it be like the best review that it's ever been, in terms of like a 5-star rating, or sometimes a 5-star rating and an excellently written review, it definitely helps us to feel better about ourselves, and helps us to realize why we're doing it and what we're fighting for. Yeah, that's definitely it. You know what I mean? And I think life at this point, we should just be hugging people and saying good stuff to them, rather than being disrespectful, So I'm hoping that people will understand that. Yeah, but that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It has been wonderful. It has been incredible. And I promise you guys that, more content will be coming. Please be safe out there, because, life is too short to do something risky and something that, you shouldn't do. We don't want you to land in a pine box, you know what I'm saying? We want you to be well, we want you to be healthy, we want you to be happy, we want you to be loving life, because you deserve it. And anybody else that tells you otherwise, that you don't deserve it, that you don't, deserve happiness, that we really give a damn and we want you to fail, you can literally just give them the middle finger and tell them to go F themselves, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to be a good person living a positive life, and you messing that up by being negative is dragging me down, and I got to cut you off. I got to cut the chains and remove the anchor that's trying to sink me. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to go down the abyss. I'm trying to keep afloat and keep traveling in this life. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's all. I love y'all. It's great for the one time here, right here at the KU Dungeon in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation. I'm the host with the most, the man with the plan, the guy that can bring the power within the hour, the dude with the right attitude, and the guy that, when taking the test, I proved that I'm the best, like BTS. That's all. Guys, it's been great. It's been wonderful. I love y'all. Please be safe, be well, be healthy, be happy. And just know, if you ever need anything, hit me up, email me, let me know how you're feeling. And, I'll do my best, and we can communicate and do it right then and there. I love y'all, man. Y'all be safe, be well. But I got to go and get out of here, all right? One love, everybody. I'm out. Peace.